Hello, you are watching the 11th edition of Wctv. I'm Josie Warwick, and sitting next to me is Jordan Berkey.
Don't touch that dial. We will be right back. We hope all you had an awesome Christmas break. We're glad that you tuned in to our first show of the new year. However, our features were taped before the snow semesters and before the holidays. This show was to originally air the week of the Stratford tornado.
Although the features have been in storage for the past few months, they are still jam-packed with information. To start the show, Kevin is going to give us the facts on the switch from trimesters to semesters.
Whether you like it or not, we have switched to semesters this year. After what used to be a trimester, let's look into just how our semester has been going. Mr. Hunt has some words on just that. Have you noticed a good change after switching to semesters?
We've noticed a few things that are better. The school year seems to be not as chaotic. Like right now, we would normally be ready to redo scheduling, get ready for next trimester, on a trimester system, and now we don't have that.
What are the main advantages of having semesters?
We really looked at two things when we were making the transition from trimesters to semesters. The first one was scheduling classes, like with Iowa Central, makes it easier for grading, that type of stuff. And the second was to put us in alignment with other neighboring districts to accommodate their students and that type of a thing, since we were the only ones that were on trimesters and they were on semesters.
Why was it important for WCHS to switch to semesters?
There were several different reasons, I think, why it's important. The main thing is we're trying to get our students time to get more depth in classes, have longer classes. Instead of 12 weeks in a class, you now have 18 weeks in a class. Allows the teacher to go into a little bit more depth into a topic, where before the teachers kind of felt, I think, that they were skimming across the top of subject matter, and they didn't want to do that.
Well, now we know semesters are better for us, but what was so wrong with trimesters? Let's jog over to Mr. Sherwood's office and see what he has to say about these changes. What were some of the disadvantages of having trimesters?
I think probably two main disadvantages. One was we were the only school in the area on trimesters, and to work with other area school districts and to work with dual credit classes with a community college made trimesters more difficult than semesters. The benefits that we've seen was not quite so much turmoil for students, not so much switching during the year, changing classes, changing instructors. The second benefit we've seen was the breadth and depth of instruction, that teachers would have an additional 30 days within subject areas to expand and go deeper into those subjects as opposed to 60 days.
Now that we know what the administration thinks, let's see what the students have to say about our switch to semester.
Cuts the year basically in half instead of having 3 sections of the year, which made it felt longer.
I don't like the semesters at all because they're longer classes, and I don't like the semester tests because I know I'm going to fail them anyway.
Which is better, trimesters or semesters?
Semesters, because semesters are easier for scheduling. Trimesters are just too hectic for scheduling classes and stuff like that.
What do you miss most about trimesters?
In trimesters, I can take more elective classes.
With all these semester tests coming up, I better get back to studying. Back to you in the studio.
I'm glad that everyone survived the semester test. Jordan, I didn't think they were that bad. Did you?
No, for the most part, all my tests went well. It is the next semester I got to worry about. You may not know it, but every week is like a semester test in WCTV.
There's a lot more to our show than just what you see on camera. Emily, will you take it behind the scenes and get us a sneak peek at what really goes on?
Once upon a time, there lived and called them the directors. They lived in the castle of Wctv. Along with them lived their princes and princesses, called the techies, and who could forget their royal servants, the talent. They all lived happily in the land of Wctv. Okay, so maybe it's not a fairy tale, but here's some real background information about the production of Wctv. In Wctv, we have 12 talent. They write and produce their features and anchor on given weeks. While anchoring, they follow a script on a teleprompter. The person who runs the teleprompter runs a script at a comfortable speed for the anchors. The talent are directed by the floor director. The floor director directs the anchors to look at the right cameras and when to speak. None of this would be possible if they weren't receiving commands in their headsets from the show director. The show director is responsible for the flow and production. The show director also tells the camera operators to zoom in or out on the anchors, or change to different angles. When the camera shots change, it is the tech director's responsibility to change them on the computer. The tech director also puts up the title stripes and runs the credits, logos, and transitions throughout the show. When you watch the features, the DVR operator controls this. They push the spacebar to start and stop the features. Probably the most noticeable aspect of WCTV is the sound. All of the sound levels are controlled by the soundboard operator. And every week, the students of WCTV repeat this routine to produce a new show for the school and community to see. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Well, that's the end of that fairy tale. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio so I can catch up on some of my favorite fairy tales.
Thanks, Em, for that close and personal look at WCTV. In other news, should students be able to drive to their off-campus classes?
For a more in-depth look at this controversial subject of student driving, we handed the wheel over to Lisa.
What you just witnessed is what many students do each day. We drive to school, but student driving isn't required. It's a privilege. Many students are allowed to drive during the school day for their classes. Some of these classes include Peer Helper, PE, WCTV, Auto Tech, and Western Civ. As you are well aware, students over the years have been involved in serious accidents both inside of school and outside of school. Some of these accidents were innocent, but some were based solely on irresponsibility. Students driving affects us all. How much time do students spend thinking about their safety? How well do students pay attention? And what do students think about their classmates driving?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good drivers, but a couple of them are pretty crappy, so we can straighten up a little.
They're wild and crazy.
It's very reckless out in the parking lot, and I think we all need to watch out what we're doing.
People just need to be more careful when driving. Statistics show that 73% of all accidents happen with other passengers in the car, but these aren't the only distractions. Cell phones, makeup, music, and food can also pose threats. So, how can these distractions be avoided? How can we be more responsible?
Turn off your cell phones and pay more attention to what you're doing by not eating when you drive.
Don't speed.
I'm a responsible driver because I don't put on my makeup when I drive.
Don't drive up poles. It'd be nice.
So now that we know how to be more responsible, we come down to the final question. Should we be allowed to drive to our classes, or do we abuse this privilege too much?
I think we should be able to drive so Samantha can drive me. I think we should be able to drive ourselves because us seniors are responsible drivers.
I think we should be able to either walk or ride our bikes. I think we should be able to drive ourselves, and that people need to be responsible and not abuse the privilege. Ultimately, it's up to you, the drivers, to be responsible enough to keep the privilege of driving to your classes. So Josie, what do you think about student driving?
Thanks, Lisa. Hopefully with these helpful driving tips, we can all steer clear of our next fender benders.
Make sure to cruise to Jeff Gym for the home wrestling meet tonight. Let's try to pack the stands. If you're up for the road trip, the Lynx basketball teams are headed to Algona facing the Bulldogs tomorrow night. Or you could buzz up to Clear Lake on Saturday to cheer on the Lynx wrestlers again at the Clear Lake Invitational.
Good luck to all the Lynx. Remember, buckle up and have a safe weekend.
Peace.